Okay, we're live. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Caldwell, and from the Creator's Place, and I'm here with Jamie and Lea Peters, uh, who are missionaries to Africa, 40 years in, and I think that's fantastic. That got my attention. And I just knew there had to be a story behind the experience. So, Jamie and Lea, welcome. They're from.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Honored to be with you.
Thank you. And you're from your Substack is called A Cultural Shift. And
Yeah.
A cultural shift. What is that? What is that?
It's what we've been living all these years.
Okay.
One culture to another one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we were actually next Tuesday is our wedding anniversary. We're
42 years.
Nice. Congratulations.
We still like each other.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think for us, it began even way back then because my mom and dad are they've passed away now, but they're Finnish immigrants.
Okay.
And I was first generation American born.
Okay.
And so he's from the great country of Texas.
United States of Texas.
So we met in Florida.
Okay.
How does that work? And less than 3 years later, after getting married, we found ourselves on the field. But that's something that we both equally and separately felt the call.
Wow. Was either of your parents missionaries?
Who answers? You go first.
No,
Ladies first.
No. My mom and dad, bless them, they came to know the Lord later in life.
Okay.
I grew up really, what's a nice way to put average, not knowing Jesus type of situation.
Okay.
And we went to the Lutheran church.
Okay.
No diss on the Lutheran Church.
No,
It's the way it was.
That's the way it was.
Right. Got it.
And then you all came to the Lord.
We came to the Lord later. My parents, they struggled. I think the culture had an issue.
For
The
sure.
culture was just so difficult for them.
Okay.
I came to know the Lord later, and that's where the cultural shifting began. I knew how to move between cultures from being a young child.
Okay.
Because everything we did was Finnish. And then I learned how to be an American. I learned how to.
She grew up, her first language was Finnish.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah.
And I first bucked against that. As I grew older, I bucked against that. But now, as I've grown older, I embrace and love that part of my heritage. And then we had to learn how to shift in culture together when we got married. And then we were thrown into Africa.
I tease and say I married cross-culturally.
You did.
Even though she was an American or is an American,
Yes.
but she grew up in Finntown in New York, you know, and it was they all went to the Finnish bakery and, everything was Finnish.
You had to have korvapuusti and pulla every Sunday. You had to have all those things.
She grew up with a coffee cup in her hand. Yeah.
So what is the language of what is the Finnish language? What language do you speak?
Finnish. It's called Finnish, actually.
Okay.
And
okay.
Yeah. That's what I grew up speaking, and I learned English when I went to school. And then you?
Yeah. So back to your original question, my parents were not missionaries, but they were in the ministry. My father passed away a couple of years ago, but before passing away, it was in the ministry 42-ish years, 41, 42 years.
Okay.
And he and my mother accepted the call to pastor a church in South Florida, in West Palm Beach, back in the early 70s.
Yeah.
So I grew up as a PK, preacher's kid.
Yeah.
But
you too. Yeah, I remember that. You as well.
Another time, yeah. And the church was very missions oriented. So I just kind of grew up in that atmosphere. And my dad actually took a missions trip himself back in the early 80s and really felt a stirring in his heart to do missions. And he really questioned the Lord at that time said, well, Lord, are you calling me to be a missionary? And he said, no, but it felt like the Lord stirred in his heart and spoke and said, no, but I am calling you to go back to your church and raise up a missions minded church. It was already missions minded, but more so.
Yeah.
So, you know, he never went to the mission field as far as what one might call a career missionary, but later his son did. And so that's me. And, you know, we've been doing it almost 40 years. So there we are.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. I remember my father, he took some missionary trips as well. He went to Guyana a couple of times, I think. I want to say he took another trip, and I can't remember exactly where. Maybe Barbados, I'm not sure. But yeah, I started thinking about that in preparation for, you know, us coming on live here, and I was like, yeah, okay, so that's another similarity that you know, in our past.
Yes.
Okay, so and when I saw the picture on your Substack, it came across my page, and you had an African daughter in the back, and that, you know, that first got my attention. And then when I read that you were in the missionaries to Africa for over 40 years, I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta reach out and see what's happening there. And so that's really wonderful. So how has it been? I mean, you know, what has your experience been?
Well, you know, just to speak to that just for a minute, again, the whole cultural thing has played, that's just who we are. And we're just kind of used to moving in and out of cultures because we've lived in Africa nearly 40 years, but we lived in different countries in Africa. So Right now,
57 countries in Africa.
People don't realize Africa is many countries. It's a huge continent. Right now, we're living in South Africa, but before that, we started our missionary career in Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which used to be Zaire back in the day.
Yeah.
So we started there. Then we went over into Burundi. And from Burundi, we were in Zambia. We spent a little time in Tanzania, then Zambia.
Kenya, learning Swahili.
Yeah, also in France, learning French years ago. We spent 9 months in France. So we're just used to cultures, different cultures, you know, it's just a part of who we are. But then we wound up spending some of that time in Malawi as well. And that's when we adopted our little girl, who's 18 now, just graduated from high school.
How does that happen?
How does that happen? But we brought her home when she was 3 months old. Now she's 18.
Wow.
She's everybody's favorite. It's Andrea.
Yeah. We say it's Andrea's world. We just live in it.
Wow.
She's very special. She's very special. But all the kids, all her siblings love her. They just, it's just like they grew up, all of them together, you know, just, although there's a big age difference. Our oldest is 40. Okay. And then you got Andrea, who's 18, and then a couple other kids, biological kids in between.
And a couple of grandkids who she refers to. She's technically their aunt, but she says they're my
cousins because of the age difference.
Yeah,
so,
I'm familiar
we
with
love Andrea and we love our other kids. We're just really.
That's great. How many?
We're living in Malawi. Yeah.
That's wonderful. How many children in totality do you have?
We have 4 children. We have 4 children and 2 grandchildren, and 3 great in-laws. By faith, the 4th great in-law, but not yet.
We won't hurry that along.
We'll hurry that one along.
Right. Okay, so you start churches in Africa. How many churches do you have in Africa?
Right now, we have 24 churches across 7 nations there in Africa. So I mentioned them. We have churches in Burundi, Zambia, Congo, Malawi, Uganda, Mozambique, and South Africa. So 7 countries, 24 churches.
Okay, great. So how long does it take? What's the process in terms of, you know, getting the paperwork in, getting it approved, and, you know, erecting the church, and then, you know, ministering there, and then it's time to leave?
It's every country is different.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Every country is different. You can't go and set up shop. Like in the States, it's pretty easy. You can, even before your paperwork is done, you could be meeting, it's fine. But not in Africa. You put yourself at risk of deportation if you were to do any kind of activity before you were officially recognized, because you need to get a visa to stay. You can go in on a visitor's visa, but eventually you need to get a visa that allows you to work. And so, or serve voluntarily, which is most of the time what we've gotten.
Okay.
And so that takes time. Our first church plant took us 9 months to get our paperwork approved.
That was back in the early 90s.
1991, 92. And so that took a long time. And then from there, we, 2 months later, 2-ish, 3 months later, we just started. You just start.
Yeah.
And my husband was preaching on this on Sunday. Sometimes we can be guilty of over strategizing, and we put strategy on top of our strategy and never get anything done.
You almost paralyze yourselves with all the strategizing, the planning. Sometimes the Lord just says, go.
Yeah.
You just got to go.
Right.
So then after you just get going.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Thankfully, when you're young like that, like we were at that first time, you just do.
As ignorance is bliss. Sometimes.
So it took us about 9 years before we weren't sure that we were going to be planting a lot of churches at that time. We knew afterwards, later, we got a vision in our heart to plant more churches.
Okay.
But
well, in those days too, we were just, literally trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
Because Burundi was in the middle of a civil war.
Next with Rwanda, the same thing was going on in the Rwanda, Burundi, and Congo. It was all in the early 90s to late 90s. So then once we left, the general
and relative peace came.
Yeah.
And
brokered by Nelson Mandela, who all of Africa honors.
Yeah.
Generally the process to register a church, it can take from months to years, or it can take weeks or days. It just depends on the country and who you know and what's going on, and if they like how you're smiling.
And also too the present government. So like in Burundi, my wife mentioned it was 9 months. We went to Zambia and we were registered in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we were, and our visas came weeks after that. So that was wonderful. So, but really, if you look at the timeline of when you actually plant the church to where you have leadership that you can leave it can take 3 to 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Around that time.
Well, training leaders is it's not overnight, and so it's a process. And so we never have really gone into a church plant saying, okay, we're going to be here X amount of years. Just every situation was different, and so. In some places it took a little longer than others. Our first church plant, we were there almost 9 years. But then in Zambia, we were there 4 years. Malawi, we were there 6 years, our first time. We went back later. That's another story. But we went back later to Malawi.
A couple of years.
After another few years. And then we were back in Malawi another couple of years. So every situation is just a little bit different, just with as far as registering, depending on what kind of situation you find with the governments, local governments. But then once the church is launched, you get registered, you launch the church, you find we've always just found a building and rented someplace.
Yeah.
Or we started in our home, in Zambia, we started in our house, and then we just had.
We ended up in the garage.
Extending it with some canopy, and we just had church in the garage. And then we received a shipping container with a tent in it. We found a football field, and they let us pitch our tent on the football field because we received a tent in the container. And then from there, we bought land, and now there's a beautiful building there 20 plus years later.
Yeah, I was joking. I joke, but it's not a joke. I go, we leave, you get these guys, God just blesses. And when you get your leadership there, and then the Lord has moved us on, and then we go back, whenever. And all of a sudden you find yourself dedicating a building. Yeah. You're like, God, God is faithful.
Well, that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
God is faithful.
They say a good missionary always works himself out of a job. So I guess that's we've been a good missionary.
And
Because everywhere, that's what we've been able to do.
And I guess for me, I understand why people call us missionaries.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I understand that.
Okay.
But for Jamie and I, we feel like we are just doing what we're meant to do.
Mhm.
We don't feel like we're anybody special. I think I would be out of place. In fact, I know I would be out of place trying to work here in the United States on a permanent basis because my grace isn't here. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I understand. So, okay. So when you're establishing a church, maybe that's not the right way to start. When you're preaching and, people are, engaged and listening, have you noticed, in any given area, maybe it's from one country to another, what people actually respond to? I mean, are there anything different from, your messages that people may relate to? I mean, because let's see. I'll give you an example of what I'm asking. When Paul went to, I forget where he was, maybe Thessalonica, I'm not sure. But he saw they had gods, they worshiped gods in the center of town. And he said, and there was a writing on one of the monuments that said, "To the unknown God." And Paul said, this is the God that I worship, that I'm.
Let me tell you about him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, are there different entry points from, region to region that people respond to differently when you bring the gospel? Is there something that kind of just draws them in, that gets their attention, that connects with, people?
Yeah.
I want him to speak to this,
because
it'll talk about your question on culture.
Well, yeah, and for us, I think it's always we try to find that point of entrance, and for us, we've always have found that a door will open when you learn the local language, and for us, we've spent weeks,
Hours,
months, years learning other languages.
Yeah. Wow.
So, which we're very grateful, because when we first came to Africa, we worked with some missionaries, and they said, "You will learn Swahili."
that was no question.
There was no option to us.
We'll give you a translator for 6 months, and then you're on your own.
You're on your own. So it was a priority for us since we first went to Africa in 1987. We spent 3 months in Nairobi, Kenya, learning Swahili. We didn't perfect it in those 3 months, but we got a good foundation. Then we went back to Congo, where we were working with this other mission, and just really spent just so many hours studying. I mean, literally, we would write our teachings, because we were teaching in a Bible school then. We'd write the whole lesson out word for word in Swahili. And when we got up to teach it, we read it word for word. And over time, you get used to speaking it, interacting with people, and you don't have to rely on that method anymore.
Yeah.
But it worked. It worked for our senior missionaries, and was figured, well, if it'll work for them, it'll work for us. And it did. And so, but just to do one lesson, it might normally take, I don't know, an hour or two. It would take us 4 or 5, 6 hours just to write one lesson out, because you're writing it in Swahili while you're still learning Swahili.
Right.
And so that's how we did that. And then when we started planting churches, that was in Congo in 1987. We left there in 1991 to start planting churches in Burundi. And one of the languages they speak in Burundi is Swahili. So we are, and sandwiched in there, we had gone to France to study French as well.
That region of Africa speaks French.
Burundi, Rwanda, Congo, they all speak French. So we said, all right, well, let's go learn French. So we spent 9 months in France learning French. Again, for the purpose of seeing doors open.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we went to Burundi. We planted our first church, and the local people mostly speak Swahili and Kirundi. So Kirundi now became another language we had to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And but we had the French, we had the Swahili, and that's how we started. And then later we added Kirundi to our repertoire. So knowing a language, the local language for us has always been a strategy for church planting. It opens so many doors because people, when they hear you speak their language, even if you butcher it, even if they love it, they feel loved, they feel heard, and they feel like you're concerned for their well-being.
I think it's also learning culture, which is wrapped up in the language. Learning culture and being sensitive to people's culture. We are by birth Americans, but when we go overseas and go to a different culture, a different people group, we have to leave that Americanism behind. And we have to apply ourselves to flow within the culture. And that's where I've seen a lot of international workers, be they missionaries or aid workers, because I've worked a lot with aid workers in the years, because in the war situations and the poverty situations we've been in, done a lot of feeding and educational outreach. People will fall by the wayside for two reasons. First, the culture is so difficult in the language. They're kind of two in one. And when they come, they're so enamored with the purity of Africa. There's something so pure about the continent. We've got a lot of problems. I'm not talking about that, but there's something about life being so straightforward in Africa.
More simple. That's
it's simpler. And so the romantic stage. But after that, you get into kind of a sandpaper stage where everything starts rubbing against you the wrong way. I'll give you an example. As a female, you go to church. I can't go in there and speak anything to anybody and act like an American.
Right. No.
In many of the traditional churches, the women are quiet. We wear dresses. There's no earrings. There's no makeup. And at first you have to flow with that. And people find that to be like sandpaper. And
what do you mean? What do I have to do?
They're going to resist it.
If they're American coming out to visit, what do I have to dress like them?
And so you're trying to be one of them.
Trying to reach them.
You're trying to be there. And so finding all those cultural cues, a real funny one. Here's a funny one. Is I can't look a man straight in the face in much of Africa. And I can't sit above them, near them, nor can I sit at them with my legs crossed in front of them for whatever reason. And instead of asking why, I just said, okay. I just said, okay.
No, at our home.
At home. We go head to head. We go head to head.
But that's okay.
That's all about the culture. It's all about
respect,
seeing part of God inside each culture. There's something hidden of God in all of these cultures.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Okay, so
was I shouting?
Oh, well, sometimes that preacher will come on you too.
Sorry.
Can't help it, huh?
Can't help.
Okay, so how long? What's the long? So I guess was 9 years the longest you stayed in one location?
Yes, I think now we're in South Africa now. The Lord never allowed us. I don't know if you watched the newest video I gave to you.
I watched. I didn't get through the whole thing, but I will.
It's kind of long. The Lord has never allowed us because we're supposed to leave people to keep doing the work, which is what they're doing now. They're multiplying into different parts of Africa. They don't need us for that. We need them to carry the work on, and God needs them to do that. But God has moved us to South Africa, and this year will mark 4 years, almost in a couple of months. And we believe this is our settling place, our place that the Lord is allowing us to base, but not travel in Africa, but actually become a place where we're going to have our training center for church planting and community outreach.
That's great. That's great.
So, but to answer your question, yes, where all the places we have lived and served in the last 40 years, Burundi, the 9 years was the longest time. Although in Malawi, we were there from 2006, 2012.
Cumulatively, it's actually a bit
6
more.
years. And then we went back. We had some other assignment at that time. And then after that assignment here in the States for a few years, we went back to Malawi, but went to a different city because by that time we had turned the work over to our Malawian church leaders. And so we weren't going back to take things back again. We had already turned it over. We just went and planted another church in another city. And that we were there in a couple of years as well.
So cumulatively, Malawi and Burundi have been about the same.
Yeah, 8, 9 years.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Well, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I mean, I was so I've never been invited. We've never been invited onto Substack Live. I've seen plenty of them.
Yeah.
How did you come across us? I mean, you know, I guess because in the faith part of Substack, natural that faith-based creators, their paths cross. I guess that's how you found us.
Yeah, because the algorithm is written such that you know, the interest of a Substack account holder is paired with similar interests of other Substack account holders. And so they created the algorithm that way so that people would find each other, you know, as easily as they could possibly make it. And you just came across my Substack screen, and you know, I saw your picture, and then I saw that you were missionaries to Africa, and I was like, okay, I mean, you know, I've done that with other people as well. You know, when I see something that interests me about, you know, what they're doing. Let's see. One person I remember, she was, she's going to get me. But anyway, she had such energy, and she had some disabilities, Bethany, and you know, she had some things that I could relate to, as you know, me being a diabetic, and so I was like, all right, I want to find out where her positivity, you know, why is she so positive? You know, where is that coming from? What, you know, so you know, I just kind of reached out and said, you know, I'd like to do a live. You know, would you want to do that? And so she said, yeah. And so, and I've had others as well. And that, you know, at some point in the future, I plan to do more than I've been doing of late. But you know, I'll get there.
And you said you're PK as well?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Tell us about that a little bit.
All right. So my father became a pastor when he was 26 years old, and he it was a spur of the moment thing. You know, the church president of the organization was at the church that he was attending because he was a member of her church, and actually it was at my mother's church that they were, you know, attending at that time. But she came down for a business meeting, and you know, on the spot, she said that she named him pastor of that church. And so that was a year before I was born. And so so up until, let's see, he was 49 when he passed. He was pastoring all that time, and then my mother became the pastor of the church when he passed. And so I've been a PK my whole life. So I have 5 siblings, and you know, we were raised in, you know, under the gospel, under the word, and you know, we're our family sings. We also, my father was, he was a gifted musician. You know, he played the piano and the organ, and he sang. And so it's funny. We used to sing around the house, and my mother, she, we were at a national meeting, church meeting, and she sent up a request for us to sing together as a family for the first time. We had no idea that this was going to happen. So it was, you know, it was very nerve-wracking, but we got through it, and you know, the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, I saw you shared when we had our meeting before we traveled. We're here in the States right now.
Okay.
We tried to do this sooner with you, but travel,
Right.
hashtag travel.
Yes.
You were sharing in our talk together that you have, as you just mentioned now, that you have diabetes.
Yes.
And how you share on Substack about that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
Give us a sample.
Give us a sample.
Sure. Okay, so I was diagnosed when I was 3 years old. So this is type 1. This is, some people call it the worst kind. But really, it's really a matter of self-discipline, if you will. I mean, it's not easy even when that's in play, you know, because there are 41 known what's the word? There's 41 known influences on that affects your blood sugar, and so it's, you know, it's a constant monitoring and balancing, you know. So, but you know, you can live a very healthy life if you prioritize your health.
Yeah.
And so I've had to hit rock bottom before I made it a priority. And so I had to, you know, really, when I was 18, take hold of the reins and start really paying attention to, you know, what I had to do. And it's, you know, it's a difference between night and day. You know, you can live a healthy, normal life, as normal as it gets, and or you can, you know, struggle needlessly. And so I've seen both sides of the coin, and you know, but things have changed a lot over the years with technology, with awareness. When I was growing up, supermarkets, restaurants were not so diabetic friendly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that was more challenging then than it is now. But now the challenge is, you know, knowing what not to eat in terms of, you know, what's available even in the diabetic space.
Yeah. It can be complicated, I imagine.
Yeah, it can be, and but you know, it's a matter of, it's a process. Like with anything, it's a growing process. People who want to, you know, lose weight, for example, change their diet or what have you. It's a process that you go through that doesn't just happen overnight. You don't get to, you know, the mountaintop overnight.
Yeah.
You know, I almost lost my eyesight in the early 2000s, and fortunately, I got in touch with a diabetic specialist who knew I was I think I was vegetarian at that time. I'm now vegan, but she told me, she said, eat dark raw leafy green vegetables every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing that, and my eyes started repairing themselves.
Responded to that.
It did. And I see 20/20. I have 20/20.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wonderful.
And but also on what was also a factor was what I was eating at the time too. I was just kind of eating too much of the processed foods that was really contributing to the degradation of my eyes. And so but yeah, so it's really a learning process. Everybody's body is different, and it's a different process for everyone, because our bodies have been in different environments, under different conditions, and are made. We're all unique, and so but it's just really it's a matter of making it a priority to be healthy. You have to I found that when I started learning about how I could be living versus the way I was living at the time, a light bulb went off on my head, and I was like, man, I didn't know that heart disease was reversible. I didn't know that I could achieve certain things that I wasn't experiencing at the time. And so once I started the more I started learning, the more I started wanting to be healthier.
Yeah.
And the better life.
Better quality of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You had a question?
No, I'm saying thank you for sharing.
Oh, sure.
I think here in the United States, of course, where we live, in South Africa, there's more processed food, but still, compared to the United States, even the food in Africa is in its raw form.
Yeah,
clean.
Eating is cleaner just by living there.
Yeah.
So we just are grateful that we've been able to do that and raise our kids in that atmosphere, so that when they come back, 3 of the 4 have moved back here and live here.
Okay.
And they have an idea of what clean eating and clean living is like.
Right.
And it's what's curious is, I think I mentioned this when we talked with you a few weeks ago, is that in Africa we have some of the highest rates of diabetes in the world.
Okay.
In the world. I think there's something genetic. There's something genetic going on there.
And their diet.
And dietary. A lot of the staple foods are, for example, you take cornmeal and you cook it into like a dough, and they'll eat it because it's cheap and that's all that there is.
And it makes them feel full.
It makes them feel full.
And it's cheap.
So their pancreas is firing constantly.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And then if they have money, as they get richer, they will drink the sugary stuff and the fried foods and forget all about the fruits and vegetables.
Right.
So I think that's the wealth, the perception of wealth also in Africa, is that the heavier you are, the richer you are. Really, they'll ask you it's a compliment in Africa if you come back from a trip and they'll say, "Oh, you've gotten fat."
Right.
So that's how it is. Yeah.
Well,
so thanks for sharing all that.
Sure. I wanted to say it's type 2. It has to be type 2 diabetes that's prevalent in Africa. What's interesting, I'm sorry?
I was saying probably.
Yeah. It's because now I have, when you mentioned the eating and how it's associated with diabetes over there, which is definitely there's a connection between the two, that and type 2 diabetes. I have type 1. That's genetic. That's genetic. What's interesting that I found out is that the highest incidence rate of type 1 diabetes is in Scandinavia.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And so it's like 60 to every 100,000 people in Scandinavia,
Wow.
get type 1 diabetes. So if you increase the number of people in Scandinavia to equal the amount of people in China, they would have the largest total number of people living with diabetes.
Yeah, per capita, have the largest incidence, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, incredible. So I read on your site that that is part of your mission, actually helping others with this. What has the response of people been like?
Well, I haven't rolled it out yet, and it's coming very soon.
Okay, all right.
So
we'll follow along.
Yeah.
Today's just been the trailer.
Today's
That's right. That's right.
The movie trailer.
That's right.
But you certainly have the authority to speak on it, and we look forward to people being touched and ministered to by it.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate any prayers that you can remember to say for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's just been an honor for us. The first time we've been asked for something like this. We consider ourselves extremely boring, and so
I honestly like connecting with people. And I think that's I don't do as much writing as other people do, but I do like different ways of connecting with people, and this just happens to be one. And so I think it's a good thing. So
well,
absolutely.
Well, we thank you for today. Really
Sure.
do. We appreciate it.
Thank you for agreeing to come on. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, we love telling our story. I mean, like my wife said, probably we think we're boring, but I think,
well, you're not boring.
Yeah. we enjoy what we do, and we enjoy telling the story, and anybody that wants to know, we're glad to tell them. We just love what we've been doing.
I mean, I've only heard bits and pieces of stories of, missionaries. I've never actually talked to, I can't say that. I know one missionary, but I haven't talked in depth about, people's experience in, overseas and so forth. So, and 40 years in, that's a long time. So there's stories there.
There's some stories. I suppose one thing would be good to do a series of lives explaining some of the stuff that we've gone through. I've written about it at length.
We've written a book,
Yeah, I've written a
retreat,
book.
No retreat, no regrets is the title of the book,
great.
and it tells a lot of these stories,
And I've written about it at length on my blog, and also here some on Substack. It just bleeds out of us.
Well, oh, great. That's good. I wanted to ask you though about your writing. How many, how often do you write in a day? You mentioned before you were a writer.
She's the writer.
I love to spend. How can I say it? I just do it because it's a self-expression thing for me. And it's part of what I do. Like today, I'm writing right now a New Testament Bible reading plan. And I spent probably 2 hours working on it this morning. Yesterday, I wrote a post. You might have seen it. I linked it to my Substack about the long race of faith. And that just came to me. That just came to me in my devotions in the morning. And so I just wrote that together. It just is something I I keep a journal, actually. A lot of what I do, I've probably have 50 of these. I write down by hand still the verses that speak to me in the morning. And we'll do our devotions together, kind of across the room, and we'll be shooting verses across at one another.
Hey, what is this? What do you think about
What do you think about that? That's great. And we're like, oh, I never saw that before.
But before the coffee kicks in, it's like, can I share this with you?
So I just ask the Lord every day to give me something that He's going to walk through the day with me, with in that verse. And often I'll refer to those I'll write short daily devotionals on my website called Between the Lines, what's God trying to say between the lines. So like when we're traveling, though, I might go several days because we're in a plane or we're in a car and I can't write. But when I have an opportunity and life is not crazy, I try to give myself an hour or two, sometimes more a day, just because I enjoy it. I enjoy reading. I love to come and my husband will say, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm reading." "What are you?" "I'm just reading." And I'll read so much and gain so much from what other people are writing or I'll be watching. I watch a lot of these lives as well.
Okay.
Just to glean and to learn from what other people are putting on. So yeah, that's how that goes. It's not organized.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious. You do you publish already pre-written articles that you've written in the past? Are your articles that you publish fresh and new, or some of them, from like if you're publishing something July 15th, Friday, 17th, Friday, is it from an old article, or are you writing something new all the time?
I would say it's 80% new.
Okay.
And 20% old.
Okay.
Like when I'm traveling, a lot of times it's really good to go back and refresh your old writing. If you go to something that you've written 5 years ago and you go, "Ew, that's horrible. I need
Thought's good, but let me clean that up."
I do that. I also have a lot of old things on my computer that I refer to from time to time. But I would say 80-20, like that.
Okay. Because I've read a couple things. For example, you said your daughter was 18 now. And there, one or two of your posts I saw her, and when she was younger, I guess much younger. And so when you said she was 18, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
When we travel, I will pull them up. There was one I recently posted about when she used to watch The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. She's a little girl. Okay. And that might be the one that you're referring to. But yes, like when I travel, those are the ones that I refresh. And I can't change her age because it's so cute. She's going
Right. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I truly enjoyed having it, and God bless you. And maybe we'll do this again sometime.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you, and God bless everybody who's watching.
Amen.
Yes.
Who will watch?
Yes. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you get something positive out of this. There's plenty to choose from. All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.